Yes, my name is Eleanor Ashley Carlton, but my maiden name is Coleman. My parents were Albert and Florine Coleman. They were born here. My father was born in 1923. My mother was born in 1925. We lived in 225 Northwest Street with my grandfather, Diggin Robert Butler from Ebenezer Baptist Church. And, um, and I went to Charles Houston Elementary School up until the fifth grade. Then I think integration started in 1965. Then they transferred me to Prince Street School. I think it's off of Duke Street. And that's where we went for a year. Then I went to the new Parker Gray in the seventh grade. And Miss Pitts was the principal at that time. And then from there to Minnie Howard, because that was the eighth grade. Then from there, T.C. Williams from 9th to the 12th grade. I am, it's four of us in the family. Laverne, Oliver, and Albert Coleman. It's only two of us left. The others have passed. My brother, Oliver, was the first champion, gymnastics, state champion at T.C. Williams. And Laverne, she went to Virginia Union. They both went to Virginia Union. I went to Virginia State. And my grandfather came out, really he came from seminary. And his parents lived on moved to West Street. So he was really raised by his grandfather and his mother. And back then, everybody stayed in the same house. So the brothers stayed, everybody stayed in the same house. And I remember living on West Street, and across the street was Jefferson Houston, and it was two big buildings. That's all it was. But it was an integration. So my sister went to Luther Jackson in Fairfax. That's where she went to high school. And because she wanted to go there, because they offer different things, a little more different. My mother was a teacher. She couldn't teach in Alexandria, so she had to teach in Washington at Simon Elementary School. And in fact, my grandfather also went to school in Washington. That's how he learned how to read and write. And so it was really interesting back then because there was a lot of neighborhood. Like around the corner was Miss Shapiro's store. You could go to the store, right around the corner, West Street on Payne Street. And I think that was the 400 block. So you could go there, and then Miss Blue's was the drugstore at that time from Ebenezer Baptist Church down on Queen Street. So that was right on the corner there. So that was interesting. And in the community, like you knew everyone. It wasn't a stranger because everybody went to the same school, everybody went to church, basically the same church to a degree, And I also had the Prices. I was kin to the Prices, but they went to Shiloh Third Baptist. And my cousin Effie and Aunt Etta, they were Shiloh. They were all in with the Butlers, but they were originally Nelsons at the time. But it was really nice. Like I said, when you go to school, you didn't miss school much at all. I don't care if it's snow. It had to be really bad for you to miss school. So, and I always had somebody to take me to school. Besides my sister, she'd go early. Sharon Jones, she used to take me to school when I was in elementary. So that was interesting. And Old Town, which is like it is now, but see, before, that was the torpedo factory where my father used to work, making torpedoes during the war. Yeah, and there used to be kind of like a hill there. So you didn't have that flooding there like that. And then you had the south side, Laos Crouch, all like that. So it was no big deal. You had your north side and south side. Of course, you always had your rivals, And because it was GW was a high school at that time, too. Because, yes, right. Because Miss Rebecca next door don't skip school because she see it, And people would tell. They would come back and tell. But it was really interesting that how many people own businesses. We had a flower shop, gas station garages, beauty, you had your own beauty salons and all like that. So it was really interesting. And it was really amazing how well I mean, everybody was, they didn't have a whole lot of money, but it was amazing how well they got, still got along, still were able to get things. You know, like when we used to go to Sparrow and Calls Beach during the summer from Ebenezer, it was amazing how my grandfather could get all those buses. You know, where did money go? You know, but people sold dinners and things like that, so that was a big help. But it was just interesting when I think back how much we were able to do under the circumstances, considering. I remember marching to City Hall because at the time they wanted, I think it was Alpha Street, they wanted to call, it was called the Dip on the south side, down there by Alpha Street Baptist Church. And they wanted to have just all businesses, but we needed affordable housing back then. And I remember marching with my father down to City Hall, protesting, you know, and all like that. And everybody seemed like they were all sitting together. So as you can see, they did have houses gone now, but they did build homes.
How old were you when you were down?
I was probably 11. Yeah, I was probably 11 years old. Because, see, we had our own movie house. It was the Carver up there on Queen Street. And it was big. And my parents went to the Capitol. That also was on. In fact, they still have some of the pieces of the building on the top. But the Carver is now a church. So it was really interesting when integration, and you know, we were able to go to the Reed Theater on King Street. It was a little smaller than we thought. We was like, oh, okay, a little smaller. We had balconies, you know. So that was kind of interesting with my girlfriend. So that integration was really interesting, and it worked out well, you know, because, and we needed it because in some ways we needed it because we were not getting the books we need. Like, you know, we talking about handed down books and things like that, but we learned how to read no matter what. Because my father, he was kind of ahead of his time, so was my grandpa. We always had books. Always had books. And in Sunday school, you had to read out loud. There was no salary because that way they can figure out if you have issues. So that was good.
Did you ever come to the library? I know.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, we used to come to the library. I'm trying to think. Was it Miss Allen at that time? I'm trying to remember who was the librarian at that time. I think it was Miss Allen. Don't quote me on that. I think it was. But anyway, oh yeah, we used to come up here all the time and do books and things. You know, look around, read, and things like that. But and my father was with the civil rights. He couldn't get too far involved because he was a government worker. And so he, you know, he had to kind of play it a little bit. So, but he did a lot with the civil rights and all like that. My grandfather also was with the civil rights to a degree also. My Uncle Oliver, he played with the Grays baseball team, Negro League, for a while, but then he couldn't play anymore. So he lived down the street, 300 block. I say everybody lived very close in vicinity of everybody. So yeah, I ran track. I forgot about that. I ran track and volleyball. I tried gymnastics, but I was too tall. They say you got to be a little shorter at that time. So no, I didn't go for that. But I did run track in high school. And also I was involved with a Black history. Because Mr. Weber, Mr. Williams was our science teacher, and Mr. Weber, he worked with this other teacher and put together, integrated the book and put Black history also in the book. So I used to do a lot of projects and bring in information out of the newspaper and current events. That was my job. And I also worked with the Black Student Union, like that. I was vice president at the time. Yeah. So that was good. Virginia State, I majored in vocational industrial education. I taught cosmetology for about a year, so I decided that wasn't for me. But on campus, I worked with the paper. the newspaper. And also, like we had a radio station, so I was a DJ for a while. I did a little DJing, so like that. So that was good. And I was a mentor. I meant history. History, yeah. 'Cause that was really my first love, history. My mother majored in English. Yes. In fact, I just recently had a family get together, and I put together all the history. But I came here to get, to work on it. My sister and I, because one thing about Laverne, she knew stuff that I didn't know, because she was the oldest, and she was the type that listened to everything, all the stories. So she knew a lot. So when we came here, we just dug even deeper. We went on the computer and just dug even deeper about, the history of our family. So I put it all together, even the marriages. And I put together the folder for everyone in the family. And they can continue on if they want to, or like that. Yeah. I have one son, Norvell. He lives in Orlando now. Yeah. Oh, after college, did I teach? Oh, well, I got married for a while. So anyway, though from there, I took the test so I can get in the government. Yeah. So I've been in the government. Retired in 2020, 30 years. Worked at Navy, Department of the Navy, at the Navy Yard. Yeah, so that was interesting. Started out with working with the helicopter, in the helicopter office. Then went from there to ALCAC, which is Land Craft Crews. Then went from there to the subs. That's why I retired from, and aircraft carriers. So that was really interesting. We also, they stopped doing, I guess, because of money, but we also had a Meet the Fleet. And you go to Norfolk and you actually get to see these ships up close and get on them. I didn't kid them up for the sub because I like the sub too much. Aircraft carriers are beautiful, so that was nice. And you get to save a ship. They have this half a boat called a Buttercup, and you get to save it. So you have a team. Each team, they say ours was the best. My job was just I tried to, how you have the thing and try to get the water out. That thing was too hard. So they put me in another position. But it was fun, and it was, it was a lot to know about and find out. And I went to California on travel to actually see the Alcott on the water, actually go on one. Very noisy, very bouncy. Yeah, so that was nice. I lived in Hampton for 12 years, then I moved back to Alexandria. Yeah, then in Hampton. That's my husband, Archie. Yeah, married him. When I came back, I was like, oh my. There used to be an alley, now it's a street. It's a street, and some places used to be just alleys that you walk through. Oh yeah, it was a big change. I was like, oh my. See, and then they had the metro. I was like, oh my gracious, we're underground. So that was nice. I must admit, I do like the transportation part. That's why I like it here. I like the transportation part. Closeness. I think we lost something. Integration had its good points, but I think we lost some things with the Black community in some ways because it was close. And when you know everybody and it's close, and people had businesses, and then after a while, Alexandria kind of got to the point where it got too expensive for people to live here. A lot of people moved to Maryland, classmates moved away. So you lost that community because people had become so transit. So you didn't know your neighbor, anymore, I always tell people, I say, you have people that you read about that did fantastic things. But be honest with you, you had people right here in the neighborhood that did. Number one, my father and grandfather were, and my parents were a big influence because they did things. With Reverend Hargrave, he was pastor of Ebenezer. He was a big influence, educated man. Let's see, who else? Oh, Deacon Comfort. He was good. He taught Sunday school, so he made you, he bring out things in you, like ask questions. So that was good. So, like I say, and my teacher, Mr. Weber and my other science teacher, Mr. Do I just say his name? Yeah, the big one of them. We used to be able to go down King Street and see Santa Claus. And at that time, it was pennies and on Washington and King, and he would come down off of there. And of course, wait for my time, they used to have the circus, but I don't know about that one. And we also, the escapades, ice capades, that was a big thing. In Washington, we used to go see that. That was a big thing. The zoo was going there, believe it or not, was a big thing to us. And what else we used to do? That was, George Washington's birthday, the parade was always nice because they always had good bands. You know, they had at that time it was Parker Gray Band and all like that. So it was really nice. Oh yeah, the May Day. School?
Yes.
Yeah, the May Day. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, we had that at Charles Houston. May Day was a big thing. Trying to think what else was big. That was basically, and the circus. That was another big thing. But those things happened in Washington, though. But we were able to go. We didn't miss too much growing up. Oh, and another thing that was really interesting. Miss Metcalf, she started a girls' club when we were teenagers, and she lived on Peyton Street, and she took us to the Wax Museum in D.C. And we used to actually go to the art museums and things like that. It was really fascinating in school to go there and see the artwork, and some of it's still there when I go now. So that was really good. That widened and broadened your mind, all of going to the museums. So that was a big help. Yeah, and we learned a lot in school. We did, the basics. Well, one thing also was really nice is Thanksgiving and Christmas, because that was when, your family. But also at the church, we were able to give out gifts to kids. And believe it or not, I guess kids today would say, oh, that's nothing. It was a box with nuts and candy in it and fruit. And that was it. And we were excited about getting that, So that was nice. We still, in fact, still have some of the decorations and all like that. So I try to keep it going. But my father is passed now. He lived to be 99. So every once in a while, I go down to the house and put the Christmas things up. If I go down there and stay for a while, But it's changed because the family is different. Everybody is kind of scattered. But we try to get it all together as much as we can. T.C. Williams was good. That was good because the year that the Titans, see, I graduated. I missed that game, but I heard about it and all like that. Remember the Titans? Yeah. I knew, some of the fellas. But my youngest brother, he played football, so he knew most of them more than I did. I knew more of the basketball team that was there. I knew most about that because that was always nice. That was always nice too, because afterwards you meet everybody and talk and all like that. So and it's really, when I get together, also, for a while I was in with Alexandria Old School. They were basically Parker Gray people, a few T.C. Williams people were involved. So that's how I learned a lot about how Parker Gray started with the two separate schools and all like that, because I did the history on it. I'm the one, I was a historian of the group. And finding out, and it's really something to find out how many people that are now gone in your age group, that you went to school like, oh, I thought they were still here. So that's really interesting too. Yeah, so.